Hi, I'm Kristen,
And I'm Andrew.
and this.
Is the Good Project. Yo, what's up, Kristen? How you doing?
Hey, Andrew, I'm doing well. It's been a day, but God is good all the
All
time.
the time. Yeah, it's something about like these days leading into spring that the day feels like it's getting longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the sun's out longer and all that stuff. It's more time. It feels like it's more time, but then that's something to be grateful for in its own way too, right?
Very true. I agree with that. Most definitely. It's a change in seasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's freezing in the morning, hot in the afternoon, goes back and forth, but you know, like you said, something new, something to look forward to. Longer days, a lot more sunshine to do activities after work. So glad about that.
Well, anything you're specifically grateful for?
I am grateful for friendships and our conversations. How about that?
Yay. All right, that's a good one. We're doing that.
We're
How
doing
meta.
that.
How meta.
Yes. We're gonna get into it later, but like this is kind of our like us closing out the
Ah,
series, everyone. Our first set of challenges. But it's just been so delightful to do this with you.
you
How
know
about
what?
you?
I'm going to say ditto. That is a
All
really
right.
amazing thing that we've been able to do this, that we were able to record 6 episodes, 7 episodes. Oh my
Yep.
gosh, the travail. But no, but for real, it's nice to have conversations. It's nice to, think about these things because, sometimes you just fall into life's track and you don't really take
Yes.
stock of what am I doing to make sure that I'm living the good life or living my life in a good way. So I'm very grateful for this. All right, yay.
Yes. And it's so great to have a partner to do it with. So
Exactly.
grateful and thankful for that.
Partnership, yay. So you know what we did this week? Our challenge was to take a social media fast.
Yes.
How
How
was
was
it
it for
for
you?
you?
Oh,
Jinx.
jinx. You owe me a soda.
Oh my god. No. Well, I'll say, how was it
Go
for
first.
me?
Yeah.
I I really enjoyed it actually. I thought it would, and there's something about like, you going into it, I anticipated that I know social media is a distraction for me, and sometimes it's nice to have that ready distraction, but it was very nice. It turned out to be the exact timing for it. And all that's, I'll say, in addition to gratefulness for this, I'm grateful for timing and that when things come, they come at the right time. And this break came exactly at the right time for me. So it was really
I feel the
good.
same way. I'm with you.
It was really good for me. How was it for you?
It was really good. I would say the first few days, like my fingers would like automatically go to the app. For me specifically, I would look at Instagram the most. So like
Mm-hmm.
going over to IG. Um, but it just was a lot more peaceful. I feel like I was
Mm-hmm.
able to get a lot more done, but also kind of like center my day a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know we talked about it a bit, but it wasn't like allowing myself to have that distraction multiple times a day.
Yeah.
Um, it gave me more time to focus. Gave me, I guess I looked at my news apps a lot more because I'm like, what's going on in the news? um, but it brought me a lot of peace. It brought me a lot of peace. And by the end of the week, when we were able to get back on, I remember logging in for a second, like scrolling, and I was like, oh, don't want to do this right now. I'm logging right back out.
I'll say for me, I'm a Twitter guy,
Okay.
and I know that it's like, I know it's called doom scrolling when you're just going and you're just running your finger and just seeing like, all right, what's out there? What's happening in the world today? What awful thing or what hilarious thing is happening? And having and really what it came down to me for me, as you said, it was a distraction. It is a distraction, and it can be a positive distraction sometimes, but it's ultimately made me realize that it's a distraction in the way that distraction can be a coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's not the best way to cope with the things that you're dealing with. And so as I found myself um, taking a break from this great or this big coping mechanism in my life, I found myself relying on other things. Like I'd start praying more, or I journaled more, or
Yeah.
I found other ways to challenge my mind. Like I took up like I've become more consistent with Wordle during that week. I mean,
Oh
but
man, I
really
left
what it
Wordle alone. I forgot about it for a second. I'm gonna
you
I'm
get back into it. Get
I'm gonna
back
get
in.
back into it.
Great way to start your day. But I
It
mean,
is.
it's it shows you that what we're looking for, I think ultimately what we're looking for with social media, as it's in its word social. We're looking for community. We're looking for ways to be less alone. But in a sense, it doesn't make you less alone. It just puts you in spaces with other people's ideas without always the reciprocity of community,
Mm,
where community is about giving and taking. And sometimes you can, and it's awful to just show up to a space and just take without being required or without feeling the need to give. And I think that that can be problematic when you use social media to exclusively create your own community and you don't work on building it outside of that, that you miss out on the opportunities to be of what community can be challenging sometimes. And I think that especially during the pandemic, it became a lifeline for a lot of us to stay in touch with people, to feel
yep.
like we're still a part of something. And I found that, I mean, I used social media before the pandemic, but in the aftermath, I found myself using it so much more, to the point that, as I said, it it's become a it's become a coping mechanism in the form of a distraction. And sort of separating myself from that for me was really good. Was really good to focus on other areas of my life or other ways to cope with the stress of life.
Yeah. And I think it all kind of ties back to the good project, the idea of good, like taking time to focus on other things that bring us joy, just
Mm-hmm.
give you a lot more time to reevaluate than kind of using that emotional crutch or that like distraction that again, like you said, during the pandemic, I agree. I used it a lot more to connect and stay in touch with um with everyone. But now like really taking time to reevaluate, like, okay, I do consume a lot of this social media, but a lot, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of my media from social channels. And I need to reevaluate my time and when I should be on it. Um, so yeah, so I think it was like you said, it was right on time. It was right on time to close this challenge out with taking a break from social media.
That's
Now let's get
excellent.
into our prompts. Let's run through our list.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Okay, so was it easy to do? How accessible was it? Just had to log out. Very easy for me. You?
Well, the way temptation works in my life, logging out was not good enough. I had to delete the apps.
um,
I
that hey,
deleted the apps,
you
which
got to get
was,
rid of that temptation.
and it was easy enough to do. It was easy enough to delete. I think it did require discipline to not
Yes.
say, I'll just break it for this moment. Or like when, yeah, oh, there's this big thing in the news. I want to know what everybody else is saying about it. Nope, discipline. And so I
Discipline.
think in the sense it's easy to do it, but it takes discipline to maintain it.
I'm with you. Cost, I think, I mean, I'm gonna piggyback off of your, excuse me, I'm gonna piggyback off of what you said. I think the cost was the discipline for me too of not logging in.
Mm.
Like that's the cost of removing that from my life for a minute. How
But
about you?
in terms of money, it was a great
Yes.
thing because I was not being, force fed a lot of advertisements. So I didn't,
Ad true. Ad sponsorships, all of that. I didn't even think about that.
they
That's
didn't
so
get
true.
to me. They didn't get to me
Mm-hmm.
this. But in terms of a monetary cost, yeah, I don't feel it didn't cost me anything. But I think one of the things that's interesting as we've gone through these challenges, it's funny how even our parameters are or our understanding of the parameters change.
Yep.
Like because cost is not always monetary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Did it require a lot of research? Nope.
No. And sort of
They
like
really should know.
less research.
Sometimes we use it for our research,
And just delete
whether
it.
it's positive or negative. Yeah. So just deleted it. How did it make you feel once the task was complete? Oh, so peaceful. So peaceful. Um,
I
to
think
get rid of that
it.
distraction? You?
I think what I'm like. I wanted to use. I echo that it made me feel peaceful, but it made me feel at the end of, I think, a challenge, you can often feel very rewarded. And so there
Mm-hmm.
was a sense of reward with this. And there was a sense of realizing how much I don't need it. It's fun, but I don't
Yeah.
need it. And it challenges me moving forward to say to myself, to know what and how I'm using social media and to put more appropriate boundaries on it, to say, you know what, bro, you're just here scrolling looking for something, versus you could be actually challenging yourself in a different way or building yourself up in a different way. So I think all in all, it's definitely peaceful, but and it was rewarding, and also taught me some very important lessons about setting boundaries on myself and maintaining my own sense of well-being.
Nice. I like that. I haven't really thought about that with our challenges. Like, yeah, it to think about it to thinking about it, like it felt very rewarding to me too, to be like, okay, I took time away from that. Um, and thinking about too, like, I guess sometimes it's scrolling, but when I started looking at it the last couple of days, I use it more as a research tool, like if I need to research a business or a person
Mm-hmm.
for something more professionally. And I'm like, moving forward, I would like to use it as a tool for that instead of just a
Yeah.
lot of scrolling. Or of course funny videos, consuming media is fine, but that's what I want primarily would like to use that tool for. um
TikTok is the new Google.
Oh, well, I haven't gotten to the ticks and the talks, so we're just gonna leave
Look at
that
you. You're a
there for
millennial.
now. I'm millennial.
Millennial.
I am truly I am. Um, recommended, don't recommend. I highly recommend
Highly
taking a
recommend it.
break. Yes,
Highly
and
recommend
limiting
it.
yourself when it comes to social media.
Yeah. I think it's sort of like reclaiming your time in a sense.
Yes.
So I highly recommend it.
Oh, did you coin that phrase yourself?
Yes, I did. I don't know where, like,
Mm.
I just come up with these phrases from nowhere. It's
Mm.
like, oh, all the creativity.
Mm.
Reclaiming my time. Oh my
Aunt,
gosh.
Auntie
I'm really,
Maxine's gonna come for you.
I ain't scared of her. No, I am. I
Yes, you
really
are.
am. I am
I'm
terrified.
scared of Auntie Maxine
So terrified.
in a good way. Like she
In the,
reminds me
like,
of
in
my
a
auntie.
respectful, like, like the
Exactly.
fear of God type of way.
Exactly. We love you, Auntie Maxine. All right. Well, you know what? This is our last challenge. This has been
Yes.
delightful. I think we've one for me, I feel like okay, sorry. We're going off the cuff here because we didn't really have a way to close this out. So what do you think about this, Andrew?
Okay.
Let's each talk about one thing we have enjoyed about the podcast. I know we talked about it a little bit at the top, and then
Hmm.
maybe we both take a second. I don't know if this will work out, but we both take a second to both do like a line of a prayer to close us out.
Oh, look at you. Come on, is this improv? Oh my gosh,
Look
we
at
didn't even
us
talk about this.
improving and
Living in
producing
the
on the
moment. All
spot.
right. Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Ooh. Because there is a lot. Actually, there is a lot that
There's a
I
lot.
am very grateful for and learned and feel rewarded by this process. So, yeah, good moment of reflection. Um, well, I'll say, I think we talked a lot about how challenging yourself can be anxiety inducing sometimes. About
Mm-hmm.
thinking about, oh, what if, and I think that sort of goes intrinsic or implicit in that is that when you challenge yourself, there's a fear of failure. There's a fear
Yep.
of dropping the ball. There's a fear of, like, a lot of the times thinking about what we did. I mean, and to be very fair, we are very well aware of how low stake these challenges are. But
Yes.
even then, the point of it being, it's like you still got that little grip of like, what if I forget, or what if I don't do this, or oh my gosh, I have to do this. But I think it ultimately shows that perseverance and diligence and discipline are a part of who we are and can be, again, the word of the episode, rewards in and of themselves. And I feel like I feel very happy and proud that even low stakes though it may be, even though everything was necessarily to benefit our sense of being good and a sense of well-being, that through sticking it out, through not calling it quits, or even sometimes if I did cheat, it'd be like, ah, well, pick yourself up and keep on going.
Yes.
It doesn't mean it's not the end of the world, but it's important that you settle into what you're doing. It's not just about content creating. It's not just about a podcast. It's about actually thinking, how are you being good to yourself? And ways that you can build on that and make more consistent habits of that. And so I think all in all, through like that discipline, diligence, and realizing that, this is actually, I know these are challenges for creating a podcast, but when it came down to it, it's really about me. It's about me being good. It's about my sense of being good and my sense of well-being. And I think that's really when the process sort of flipped for me. Instead of random challenges, it's about a real person. It's about me being a real person, and me engaging and trying to be good in this sense. So I found that to be one of the greatest things to come to a realization of as we were doing this. What about you?
I think for me, I think it was great. I was just thinking about it now, like, and you mentioned a bit too, but like we did smaller challenges, low stake challenges every week. And in the beginning, it was anxiety inducing. And I would say all throughout, there was a little bit of anxiety for each one. But I think also we started to kind of condition our brains to, I would say, look forward to the challenges, because we were doing
Mm-hmm.
challenges that for me, like felt really good for the soul, like
Yeah,
stretching,
yeah,
journaling, checking in
yeah.
with friends, and committing to being very consistent with that for the week. I think that was really helpful. And the challenges also helped me figure out like which ones I enjoy more. I really enjoy the stretching. I really enjoy journaling. I enjoy all of it, but
Mm-hmm.
what are the different tools I'm going to add to my toolbox and implement. Not just like,
Yeah,
let's try and
yeah.
do, three things throughout the week. Let's try and do three challenges. Like that can be overwhelming when you're trying something new. But it's like, let's sample each
Oh,
one
that's
each
really
week.
right.
Yeah, and see what works for you. I also think too, it was really great doing this with you and like having a partner in it. It's
Yeah.
the accountability aspect,
Mm-hmm.
and also being able to take time at the end of the week to talk about it, give our feedback, but also kind of, has been very therapeutic to have this moment to
Mm-hmm.
discuss
Catharsis.
exactly catharsis, like discuss what went on each
Yeah.
week. And I'm just really happy and thankful that we were able to complete the challenge of like doing this challenge, like creating this podcast. Like you'll hear in the beginning, we talked about in the beginning of when we started the series
That's
of like we
exactly where
tried
my
this in the
mind
end of
went.
last year.
That's exactly
Um,
where.
it was a little dark and it was a little sad. So we took a moment to at the end of last year to kind of regroup and come up with something. And I'm so happy with um where this podcast ended up. And I think we've created really great systems for ourselves. I
Yes.
think it's been really nice to be able to work together.
Mm-hmm.
And it's again, I think it's about the challenges, but also the camaraderie and the teamwork that has come out of creating this podcast. So I'm thankful for that.
Hey fam, it's Andrew. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Good Project Podcast. Let us know how things are going for you. Send us an email at thegoodprojectpodcast@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram at the Good Project Podcast.